Hello everyone, Don here again with the next update on the W.A.R Corsair project. As you can see, I got a little farther along from last week. I managed to get all the tops of the control surfaces painted yesterday, Saturday. So these are finished. This one still ended up getting a little blister I'm going to deal with. But you can see I got the two inboard flaps in place. Rudder's on there, elevator's on there. I just slapped the tail cone on to give you the effect. And as you can see on this side, I got the other two flaps installed. If we come around to the engine, you can see I got the exhaust pipes all wrapped in. I got a new oxygen sensor, installed that when I had the muffler off. Tight squeeze through here. Okay, I had mentioned before about this fitting being loose. Well, I did pull the oil pan, welded a bung in there, and sandblasted the pan clean, gave her another coat of primer and top coat, semi-gloss black. You can see I got the whole muffler done in, both sides. So now the exhaust is pretty much done. There's probably not much left to do to it other than get these little shields put in here, make the insulation and cut out shields. The idea is the muffler is really close to the motor mount in here. It doesn't touch, but it's close, and it's also really close to the oil pan back in here. So there is over a ½ inch of clearance in there. But the idea is to try and keep the heat off that. So it's all filled back up with oil. Alright, I've been getting some questions about the aircraft, and so I thought I'd go ahead and kind of reintroduce the project to any of the new followers that may not have went back to the beginning of this build. But basically what this is a W.A.R aircraft replica half-scale Corsair. W.A.R, when I do my updates, I do W.A.R, which stands for W.A.R Aircraft Replicas. They are the company that drew these drawings. These are plans built aircraft only. They have about a dozen different models to choose from. But they're all half scale. They all pretty much use a Continental 200 100-horse engine. Everything on this aircraft is built from scratch. The basic structure is a wooden box fuselage with plywood covering, 16th inch plywood covering. So it's real thin stuff, and it's all aircraft Sitka spruce for all the longerons, all the pieces and everything. Which you can see the basic box structure inside the fuselage. But the fuselage is a square box. When you start building these things, people think you're building a boat, because that's what it looks like. And then the styrofoam, the whole thing is covered with styrofoam to give you the outside exterior shape of the aircraft. So it's real easy to turn this into pretty much any kind of airplane. Except for this one is Corsair specific because of the gull wings. But all the other aircraft they build drawings for are straight wing. So that's the gist of this. So W.A.R actually stands for W.A.R Aircraft Replicas. The company is still in business. It's changed hands a few times since the 70s because these aircraft were all designed back in the mid-late 70s. So it's changed hands, and the new guy has it now, and he's been revamping all the drawings and trying to digitize them and stuff. But you still can get the drawings for this Corsair and such. Everything is full scale on the drawings as far as every part that you build on this aircraft is drawn full scale on the plans. The landing gear, a guy just asked about the gear, where I got them. I didn't get them anywhere, I made them. It's all built up from 4130 chromoly tubing and sheet stock, and it's all TIG welded. The scissors I deviated from the plans. I made them out of billet aluminum, just cut them out. I'll probably make a new set of those eventually once I make sure the toe end's good, because I had to put a few washers more on one side than the other, and I can compensate for that when I make some new ones. But those were just cut out by hand out of some scrap I had, so I got the CNC now. I can make a better set. But that's the gist of the project. It is a scratch built airplane. There is nothing you can buy for this airplane. There is a company that is doing canopies. If you want to spend $600, you can get one of their canopies. I plan on doing my own. So this weekend has been awful humid today. It was like 85% earlier. It's down to 80, but it's still muggy as hell out here. But I got this, as you can see, I got the flaps done. Let's see if I can set this down, remove a couple of these control surfaces over here out of the way. Let's see if the camera will set on the table where you can see the flaps. That should work right there. What I'll do is I'll turn the power on and I'll cycle the flaps down. Now it might be a little harder to hear me. Plus I've had an allergy attack yesterday and it did do wonders for my voice. Alright, so the flaps are on the stick. These flaps will go roughly 30 degrees. That's what I designed them for. They obviously stop at 30. That's as far as they go. You'll be able to see, we'll get back here, kind of get the idea of what this thing's going to look like. With the flaps down and dirty. The elevator is hooked up to the stick. Rudder is hooked up to the pedals, so that's all functional now. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and set this back down. Sorry about that, I hit the pause button. Let me go ahead and run these back up. Again, they'll go from 0 to 30. The real ones would actually go to, I believe, 40 to 50, because they actually use them for dive brakes. Let me go ahead and start this back up real quick also, so you can hear the exhaust. But the tin canning sound seems to have dissipated. I don't really hear it now. I think wrapping the muffler, I think the bottom of the muffler was vibrating, and because there's 3 bulkheads inside of that, or baffles inside that thing, and they're not really welded, just the outside 2 ones are tack welded to the skin, so it was kind of just vibrating. So that's kind of where I'm at this weekend. I got quite a bit done. I also wanted to show you, I grab the stick here and you can see the elevator is, if I can get a hold of her. There's the elevator, and that was all set to give me the proper up and down deflection. I think it's 30 up, 20 down, something like that. The rudder is 30-30 both ways. So, alright, so for my next project is I may drag the wings out, get these ailerons installed. They should just bolt right on. There's really no fitting required. Those 2 flaps should be going on. I had to do a bunch of sanding on the trailing edge of the rear spar to get these to clear. I had slurry mixed inside this to cover the foam that was in there to give it the radius. So they were hitting along here. I'm going to get some chafe tape to put on the top of the flaps. You can get it in kind of a semi-white pastel, what do you want to call it, opaque. They're kind of a white plastic, but you can get it in clear, but put it under here and it'll help keep this from being chafed underneath this lip here. I made these, try to get them as smooth as I could. And, you know, that's the best I could do. And again, it was just time to get this bird done. I'm going to do the same thing here. And then when also another person asked about folding wings. These wings don't fold up. They just unbolt. There's 2 bolts in the back, 2 big bolts in the front. Disconnect the linkage to the stick, pitot tube lines, unplug any wiring for nav lights, and disconnect this 1 flap linkage. And the wings are removable. Also, there's a panel on the bottom, but they're non-folding. They do not fold. So, alright, I got quite a bit done this weekend. Maybe next weekend I'll, if I don't work on these ailerons and inboard outer flaps, I mean, through the week, I may get on that windshield, get that cleaned off. I didn't wipe it off. I wiped the whole airplane down, but I won't wipe off that plexiglass because it'll scratch it. So I have to wash that off with some soap and water. But I need to drill the holes, which I did buy a special plexiglass drill bit. I'll pilot drill them, and then they have to be kind of countersunk for little countersink screws. Oh, and I did pick me up a sheet of 0.35. The company didn't have any 40,000s to make the panels on the bottom of the wings, the gear door panels on the front of the landing gear, and I'm going to be using a piece of that to make the frame for the windshield. That's 4 foot by 4 foot and 0.35 thickness, 6061 T6, as you can see. Everything aircraft is 6061 T6 or 2024 T3. So that was 30 bucks. Couldn't believe that. That was cheap. Cheap for me. So the panels go on the front of those gear doors and then on the bottom there, and I'm going to make a frame to go around the windshield, and then that'll be screwed down with the windshield. The goal would be to make it easy to replace in the future. Like I said, my first windshield unfortunately crazed on me, but I'll put some kind of silicone or something around the bottom of this when I put it in, and it'll only be screwed across the top, and then the windshield will fit, or the frame will fit around that. I'm not sure if I'll screw anything down through it, but once it's attached on the back and it's glued in that front edge, I don't think that thing's going to come off of there. And then it's a matter of getting back on that bad boy, get that thing finished up. The windshield bow frame is still sitting there. So, alright, I guess that's going to do it for this week's update. Did manage to get quite a bit done. You know, as you can see, the paint color matched up nicely, being that it was a new can of paint. Plus I had some left over still in the freezer, and I brought it out and warmed it up, and then I ended up mixing it up with the new stuff to make it flow a little better. But the color match was really nice. Color looks really good, and all these components came out just absolutely beautiful. I'm really surprised at how well they did come out, and this seemed to have manifested itself after. So I got to deal with that. I'll probably drill a hole in it, squeeze some glue in there, put a clamp and weight on there, and flatten it back out and see how that works. But I ain't going to work on the damn thing. It is what it is. So, alright folks, as always, appreciate you taking time to watch my videos. Feel free to leave any comments, questions, or concerns, and I'll get to your questions when I can. After the work during the week, so I get pretty tired and I don't get a whole lot done. But this past week I did manage to come out and do some work, so hopefully I'll keep going. I don't know how well I'm going to get this done by the end of the season, but I'm trying, folks, really trying. So, alright guys, that's going to do it for this week's update. Stay tuned next weekend. I'll see what I can get done then. So for now, this is Dino Don out.